Hey, welcome to the channel. If this is your first time here, thank you for coming. I appreciate that. If you've been here before, you know it's called Fishing Aviator, and there's not been a whole lot of aviation in the channel. I mostly started this channel after I started the kayak fishing tournament thing, which was after I got my private pilot license. And flying in a fixed wing aircraft can be expensive if you don't own one, and if you do own one, they're still expensive. If you run the math, and there's plenty of videos you can go search and find out how expensive it is to own an aircraft. And some people will say, well, it's cheap. I disagree. It's unless you fly 100 hours, if you're using your aircraft to get to destinations quite often, it can be kind of expensive. When I'm talking about over 100 hours of aircraft time, because you got to pay for the aircraft, you got to pay for the insurance, you got to pay for the annual maintenance, fuel, everything. And so if you don't own an aircraft, your option is to rent one. To rent an aircraft is, from $120 to $175 for like a Cessna 150 or 172 or maybe even a 182. And that's usually dry. So usually dry, which means you got to put fuel and oil in it. I was able to get my pilot license kind of on the cheap because I worked out a deal in a club. I joined a club and I paid a monthly fee for hangar space. And in exchange, I was able to get the aircraft. All I had to do was put fuel and oil in it. Well, after I achieved my private pilot certificate, we sold the plane and I got rid of the hangar. And then so that kind of stopped fixed wing air flight for me for a while. And then other life things happened. As you know, if you've been following the channel, I moved from Oregon to Idaho about over a year ago. And so we haven't flown much since I got my private pilot certificate. But I wanted to get back in the air. As I drove around this new state in Idaho, and I started noticing here, like in the Treasure Valley where I live, that there's a lot of space, a lot of farms, and just a lot of places to go fly. And the type of flying that I prefer to do is not necessarily destination flight. In other words, I'm just trying to get from point A to point B. I prefer low, slow, and to see the scenery. That's why I always wanted to get my pilot license, just so I could get out and fly. And so in the Treasure Valley, there's a number of people flying powered paragliders, whether they're the kind that they strap on their back and go running off and sit in a little nylon seat kind of a thing, and once they're launched, and fly around, or they use a trike, which is a small seat, with some, 3 wheels, 1 nose wheel and two main landing wheels. But the motor is still connected to a frame of sort, but they fly by utilizing their hands. And again, it's a smaller single person usually aircraft. And pretty nimble, and smaller wing, parachute, if you will. And so they're able to get in and out of places pretty easily. I preferred and chose to go with the powered parachute way. And the difference is a powered parachute is larger, can be 1 or 2 person. It's usually N-numbered, which means it's a legal aircraft with the FAA. After there was a date, I think it was 2004, 2008 or something like that, they had to be N-numbered in order to fly. But they're bigger, usually got bigger engines, they're not strapped to your back, and so you're able to accommodate more, so you can accommodate more weight. The wing is a lot bigger. It's usually a 500 or 550 square foot wing. But it still allows you to fly low and slow, and the control differences are it actually flies with your feet. So your left and right movement is with your left and right leg, and then all you have is up and down with your throttle. So as you give it more power, you're going to go up, and as you reduce the power, it's going to come down. And again, you can use left or right. Now you can make tighter turns by grabbing the lines because they're just right outside of within arm's reach, and you can pull that down a little bit more to get a tighter turn when you go, if you want to just kind of cruise around fields or whatever. So anyway, that's the way I decided to go. It was actually originally my plan, and there's a whole other video that we could do about that. When I first started, chasing the dream of flight, something I've always wanted to do since a child. My first memory of a toy is an airplane. So when I first started pursuing it back in 2020, just before or right after COVID started, actually, I started looking at the powered parachute, and I actually took an hour lesson. And it just, things didn't feel right at that time. So I decided that I really wanted to go after my private pilot license, which is what I did while I was still living in Oregon. So I spent a couple of years actually with that aircraft, Tequila Sunrise. If you've followed this channel or if you see me on Facebook, you can see that airplane there. Again, it was a Cessna 150M, a 1976 model, and flew like great. But you know, the real differences in flight are these things, the powered parachute, are super, super simple. You don't have all of the gauges to make sure that the thing is in level flight. You don't have to monitor, you know, your stall points and all that, because the wing's already deployed. And if you get an engine out, you just coast it down. Obviously, you got to look for a place to land, and you want to make sure that you're flying in spaces that you know, can give you that, afford that accommodation. But worst case scenario, like anything else, you just find a space that can get you down, and you don't need a long runway. You know, I can launch in, you know, probably around 200 yards, whereas, you know, you need quite a bit of distance, even like a Cessna 150, to get it off the ground. And it actually has less, usage or usable lifting capability, the Cessna 150 that is, than my powered parachute. This thing can lift up to 1,000 pounds. Obviously, that's including the cart, which only weighs about 300, and in myself. So I still have quite a bit of capacity left that I can lift up. It's going to take a little bit longer runway, the more weight I carry, obviously, but it does have the capability. But again, low and slow, and that's what I want to do in my flight, and that's going to give me the capability. So what I decided to do is, after getting my private pilot license, I went out this past fall, just about a month and a half ago, almost 2 months ago now, and I went and got a sport pilot powered parachute endorsement. So I spent some time with an instructor flying a powered parachute, and then went through the regular process with the CFI, a different CFI than the one I trained with. And then they took me through the process and tested me. So I had to do the flight test. I had to do all of the maneuvers in the air, flying their aircraft, and then I had to do the verbal part as well. So just like a regular private pilot license or sport pilot license, I went through that entire process and got my powered parachute sport license endorsement. So anyway, so then I decided that I just kind of wanted to go get my own aircraft, and the aircraft itself are way less expensive than a regular fixed wing aircraft. A used fixed wing aircraft that can be 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, you know, is going to run you somewhere between 20 and 50 to even $100,000. Whereas you get a powered parachute, probably the brand new one with the biggest engine, biggest parachute, is going to run you somewhere around 30 to 50,000. But there's a big market for used and that are in great shape, got low hours, and you can get those, you know, anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 pretty regularly. You just got to search the internet and you can find them. You might have to travel a little bit, but you can find them. I found mine. It wasn't too far away, about 4 hours. I had to go through the entire inspection process like you would a regular aircraft. I had a A&P look at the engine and look at the aircraft, and so I actually have a real annual, just like you would, again, fixed wing, on my aircraft. So the engine's good, all the controls are good. Yeah, it was. I was happy, and for the money that I spent, I got a smoking deal. And I've already put 1 hour in it just to kind of get used to it. We're about to approach winter. It's just the day after Thanksgiving here in 2025. And right now it's 30 degrees outside, and it's 50 here in my garage. So the one main difference, and it's foggy, so I'm not flying in that. Anyway, but one of the main differences are with powered parachutes versus fixed wing is wind. So with a fixed wing, you can usually get through the wind pretty well. Obviously, you still have limitations. The smaller the aircraft, the more bumpy of a ride it's going to be. But with a powered parachute, it becomes even more dramatic because it's the wind that's flying you around, and because you're already low and slow, the wind has much more of an impact on your capability. So what you'll see most powered parachuters or even paragliders, they'll be flying mostly in the morning and the evening as the winds are diving down or have very little effect on the aircraft. In the middle of the day when it's blowing, you don't want to be doing that because it just creates so many challenges. Whether you're, once you're in the air, it's not so bad. It's a little bumpy. but you do have issues with ground speed and all that, so you want to make sure that you can control your aircraft as quickly as much as possible. So again, morning flight, evening flight is when you want to do it. One of the other reasons I wanted to get a powered parachute is, and I got a two-seater, because I want to offer people flight. Those that haven't ever experienced flight, low and slow. I mean, those who have been in a, the sardine can called a jet, with 150 or 200 other people, it's not the same thing. If you want to truly experience what it's like, to almost be like a bird as a human, this is probably the best way to do that. Again, maybe paragliders have the same feeling, or even the trike guys, with the wing. I forget what they're called at the moment, but anyway, so my plan is to offer people that ever want to go flying the opportunity. At no cost. I'm going to be in the air anyway, so I have a secondary helmet, and we can communicate, we can talk, and we can experience that low and slow flight. Different than what you would get in a propeller, fixed wing aircraft. So anyway, what I want to do at the moment is I want to take you through what my aircraft is. It's a SixChuter SR5 XP. So it's got a motor that's a little bit bigger than what they originally intended. So it gives me a little bit more power, which again allows me to take passengers. And with the wing that I have, that 1,000-pound lift, I shouldn't have any issues with that. Anyway, so I'm going to take you through it. I want to show you kind of how it works, what they look like, and then just understand that these are probably the safest aircraft there are. Again, if the engine goes out, you've already got the parachute deployed. So, I mean, you would have to really work hard to do things like stall the wing or fly in unfavorable conditions, and that would be a dangerous situation to begin with. So that's kind of on you. But as far as the aircraft failing, chances are really very high, actually, that would ever happen. So as long as you do your pre-flight like you would any aircraft, you shouldn't have any issues. So I'm going to get off the stool and put you on a selfie stick, and I'm going to walk you around the aircraft so you can see what my aircraft looks like. And if you like what you see, subscribe to the channel. This channel will never be monetized. I understand that. It's not what it's for. It's to, show some of my adventures, whether it's fishing, whether it's flying, the tournaments that I'm going to do, etc., that I have done, but also to educate. So, I've done some of that stuff, and one of my biggest views was how to fix, or just how to set up a kayak, for a tournament, or how to fix a problem on that particular kayak. Because again, I have an autopilot 136 from Old Town, and then I've had that now. I think this will be my 4th or 5th season coming into it. Love that thing. Super stable. I have a lot of fun. It gets me where I need to be. It's not the fastest kayak, but it is what it is, and gets me where I need to be. So again, Fishing Aviators, the channel. If you like it, subscribe. I appreciate that. Not looking to monetize it, just looking to educate, entertain, and answer any questions you have. So let's get you on the selfie stick and show you what's going on. All right, so here is my SixChuter SR5 XP. So you can see that it is the SR5 XP. And one of the first things I want you to notice is this is in my garage. So I actually had it in here for a while. I've since bought a enclosed trailer that I'm going to store this in outside, so then I can get my garage space back. But as you can see in this garage, I mean, this thing doesn't take up a whole lot of space. So as a owner of a powered parachute, you don't have to worry about hangers or leaving it on the tarmac or anything like that, like you would a fixed wing. These things are much more versatile in terms of storage, and when you're not in flight. So November 2697 Tango is my N number. It is a registered aircraft with the FAA. Since I've bought it, I've done a few tweaks to make it mine, if you will. But before I bought it, it did not have these front bars. It was just an open space, but for safety reasons, we put the front bars on there, had them powder coated to match. I had it done by SixChuter, which is over in the Pasco, Tri-Cities, Washington area. So I was able to, which is where I bought the aircraft anyway. So it was really simple for me to have them go ahead and build those front bars. They're removable, so if I ever want to take them off, I can do that. But again, I just do that for safety. So as you look at the aircraft, we're going to go ahead and start at the back end. So this is where the lines, you can see these lines here. When I pull the the chute out and lay it on the ground. They hang here off of these hooks just to kind of keep them off the ground and to keep things from getting all tangled up. So this is a Rotex 582 Bluehead. So it's got a lot of horsepower. I think it's right around 65 horsepower. It is water cooled, so you can see the radiator down there. It is also oil injected. So that's my oil pump right here. And then so I don't have to worry about mixing it or anything like that. I just gotta make sure I got oil in there. And so this is the engine, this is the propeller. I have a 3-blade power fin. You can see what the space is underneath, what it looks like from the back end. So it's a big hoop. I think that's right around 80 inches at the top. So I do have to tilt it when I get it in and out of the garage or into the trailer. But that's not that big of a deal. You just lift up on the ring and it pulls back. So it does have a 10-gallon fuel tank. You can see that over here, and you can see right about here, you see that little red float. So that tells me if I can look at it and get a visual as to how much fluid, because if you look at the tank itself in there, it is a 10-gallon tank. So there's a lot of fuel there at about 3 to 3.5 gallons per hour. So that gives me about 3.5, 4 hours of flight time. Move back into the front. So it does have the SixChuter control panel. So that's where your EIS, your engine information system, and all of your controls. So in this case, I have my master switch here. And when I flip that on, so it obviously it gives me all the information there, but it also turns on my strobe. So I have it wired so it's always on whenever the master is on. And then just like any aircraft, you have your mag switches, check those out. This is ignition, so I don't have to pull, but in the event of an engine out or a bad battery or something like that, I do have the ability to pull start this engine as well. It is 2 seats, so you can see I run dual helmets. We can have that capability. There are 4-port harnesses for each of the seat. Batteries up underneath the back seat. That's why this is kind of labeled out, because I have it on a charger right now. But and I also need I was pulling it out because I had it. My last trailer was an open trailer, and I would pull the seat back so it didn't fly away. But I need to put that back in there. One of the other things I had modified before I actually took ownership is I had a brake put on. So I did have to change out the front wheel. It's basically just like a cable brake on your bicycle. So if I do land on a hard pavement, blacktops, concrete, whatever, like on a runway, a regular runway, it doesn't roll. It's going to roll further than if it were just in the grass. So I wanted to be able to put a brake, and I also wanted to be able to, just control its speed while I'm on the ground. You can see that little blue button in the front. That's my push to talk. So I do have a radio mount right there. And then that's going to be my phone mount. This will be for my iPad mini, which will have my flight information, etc. on there. So when in the air, so you can make sure your chute is deployed, that's what the mirror is for. So again, if you look at my first video that I did in this flight, in this aircraft, you can see that chute coming up, and you can see the chute in the mirror. So that's why you have that mirror there, to make sure your chute's up, your lines are not tangled. I talked about control. So this is where your foot control is. So this right here, this bar. So if I were to push forward on that by itself and not push on the left, because once it's in the air, these lines will tighten up. So these are the steering lines. These red lines are the steering lines. And so once the chute's deployed and you're up and flying, there's tension against this bar. And then so pushing right, you're going to go right. Pushing left, you're going to go left. And as you push forward on both simultaneously, you're actually pulling the trailing edge of the wing down, creating a flap effect, which is going to slow it down, and then also raising your front nose, so it's going to flare just like a regular aircraft when you have your flaps down. So as you're landing, you want to land on your main gear first, and then your nose gear last. And then pushing forward, again, simultaneously will cause that trailing edge to kind of cup down, and then gives you that flare effect. You can see, well, I'll just come around. So the bars, you can see how everything's mounted up. Again, I have an intercom system there, so you can see that. It's right here. That allows, I've got my radio mount right there, my phone mount is here, and my iPad mini is going to be over there. Cup holder for myself as a pilot, so if I'm up flying, I can get something to drink. It's just mounted with a ram ball. Everything's wired up, everything's electric, so there's a battery again underneath the seat. You can see the wing or the parachute, when not deployed, when you're in transit, you're just hanging off your bar here. So you can see the lines come across over here, and then once I pull this out, pull the chute back at that hole, I flip that over, and then everything will come off the back end. So these are like super simple machines if you see how this all works and how they're all mounted together. Not much to them. And they're extremely safe. So you don't have the complexity of all the things you have, you know, in a fixed wing aircraft. These are very basic, you know, an engine, a wing, and some controls. That's really about all there is to it. You can monitor your fuel temperatures, not your fuel temperature, but your oil temperatures, your water temperatures, and everything on your EIS. You also get your airspeed, your altitude, and all that good stuff. So you still get a lot of information. You have a process you want to walk through. And so I have a camera mount you'll see here. That's going to one will go forward, and the other one's over here. It'll go facing me, debating on whether to put one up there or not. But that's pretty much it. I mean, that is a powered parachute. That is my SixChuter SR5 XP. And yeah, I got all new tires on it. There's that brake that I was talking about that I put in. And again, it all just stores here in my garage. So again, if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I'd appreciate it. Again, I'm not looking to monetize the channel. I just don't ever see that happening. But that's not the purpose of it. If the purpose is to educate, entertain, and just kind of share my life as I go through. And I should also probably say that you don't have to be a young guy to do this. I'm 61 years old, and I just now got my powered parachute certification. So you don't have to be old to do this. And new rules, just kind of a sidebar, is Majestic, I think as it's called, or yeah, Mosaic, excuse me, is a new FAA rule. So the medical requirements to fly these things are substantially reduced. You don't have to have a Class 3 medical. You can fly this with just your driver's license. As long as you get a valid driver's license and you fly with the restrictions of your driver's license, i.e. your glasses or whatever, you're perfectly legal to fly these as well. So thanks for watching, and I appreciate it. If you got any questions, hit it in the comments. I'll answer them as soon as I see them. And look for a lot of flights coming in the spring once it warms up. I might sneak one or two in the wintertime, depending on how cold it is or what the wind is. That's really the driving force. And then also I'll probably do a video of my new trailer that I just got. And still need to build it out the way I want, but I think I need to kind of maybe use it a few times before I fully get involved as to what I'm going to be doing with it. So, and again, thanks for watching, and everybody have a great day, and God bless.